baked bean quesadillas, stuffed with cheese between two tortillas, pulled pork and baked bean quesadillas, made with mushrooms. You got the right idea. Hello, my loves, and welcome back into my kitchen. My name is Gabrielle Reyes, aka One Great Vegan, One Great Vegan. And hopefully y'all are all cooking at home along with me, and y'all can feel like one great vegan as well, my loves. So, as you can tell, y'all, I am up here in a new kitchen. Me and my beloved husband, we just moved. We are on our journey to Los Angeles, my loves, and here we are in our beautiful new kitchen. So, like I said, we're gonna be making those pulled pork and baked bean quesadillas, stuffed with cheese between two tortillas. Y'all best believe we're gonna be making that fierce vegan pulled pork out of mushrooms. We're gonna be making some beautiful, bountiful baked beans, quick and easy recipes that you can create separately, or you can put them inside of a quesadilla, which is what we're doing today, my loves. So, before we get going, before we get glowing, I want us to wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands before you get to cooking. Wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands before you get to cooking. All right, so make sure your hands are clean before you get going and glowing in the kitchen, my loves. Want to make sure that everything stays fresh and we don't get ourselves sick. All right, so the first thing we're gonna start off with, my loves, is our vegan pulled pork. And y'all check out these mushrooms I am using today. I'm gonna be using some lion's mane mushrooms as well as some oyster mushrooms. So I couldn't find any king oyster mushrooms with that nice thick stem, but these are gonna go just perfectly, y'all, because look at this. I already separated some of our pieces. Check it out, check it out. This is going to become our pulled pork, my loves. Check out this huge mushroom. Mushrooms are magic. All right, if that is the phrase of today's cooking class, that's the phrase of this week, honey. Mushrooms are magic, and I'm gonna show y'all, not only do they have tons of healing properties in them, but you can use them to mimic any kind of meat. All right, so let's get going and let's get glowing. First thing, like I said, we're gonna get our pans nice and hot. Start off by getting your pan, get a nice big pan, deep pan. Get it nice and hot with some oil or some vegan butter. Veggie broth works as well. And then chop up about 1/2 of an onion and just toss it into your pan. Y'all know I always start off my most epic recipes with onions and oil, okay? Cooking is easy and fun when you sing. Onions and oil can make anything. Cooking is easy and fun when you sing. Onions and oil can make anything. And y'all will see from this recipe, along with all my other recipes, if you start off with some onions and some oil, you really can make a recipe shine, baby. All right, so I am just sauteing down my onions. And while those are sauteing down, you can add in a sprinkle of some salt. You can add in a little bit more of your oil if you need to. I like adding in some salt because that just helps things cook on down even quicker. And it just gets even more depth in what you got going and glowing, my loves. All right, so all of your chopped white onions, I've added in about 1/2 of a chopped white onion, or you can use yellow onion too. Honestly, it doesn't matter. We're gonna use red onion for our beans though as well, just to give it some more dynamic flavor. So, like I said, you got your onions and your oil cooking on down. Get that nice and hot in your pan. And then, y'all, we're gonna work on these mushrooms. Mushroom, 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 mushroom. We're gonna be working on peeling apart these mushrooms. So, what I have here, y'all, look at this hen of the woods mushroom. See how easily it just falls apart just like that. And what you're going to do is just take whatever mushroom you have. You can use a knife, you can use a fork, it doesn't matter, but we're just going to create these nice thin strips of mushroom, and that's going to become our pulled pork. So there we go, my loves. Pulled pork baked bean quesadillas is what we are making. And right now I'm just showing y'all how you can just tear apart your mushroom. You can use oyster mushroom if you want to as well, honestly, it doesn't really matter. You can use dried mushrooms and soak them. Any kind of mushrooms will be perfect. And also jackfruit is perfect for this recipe as well. So I'm gonna tear up our mushroom. Pull the mushroom, mushroom, pull apart the mushroom, mushroom, pull apart the mushroom. Y'all, it's crazy how just easily it pulls apart. And if you're using the king oyster mushrooms, then you're gonna wanna make sure to use a fork and knife to separate all of those pieces. And I'm also gonna be throwing in some oyster mushroom in this as well, just because I love oyster mushrooms. Me and my husband, we just visited this mushroom farm yesterday, and it was epic, y'all. It was so cool to see how to create mushrooms. I've never grown them for myself, my love. So it was really cool to see it at full force. All right, let's check in on our onions and our oil. Oh yes, they are cooking down. So I'm gonna let these cook on down even more as we separate our mushrooms. That way I get these nice and clear. All right, so separate the mushrooms, separate the mushrooms, separate the mushrooms. All right, we are pulling it apart, and this is pulled mushroom pork. A pulled mushroom pork, pulled mushroom pork, a pulled mushroom pork, pulled mushroom pork. A lot of people always ask me, they're like, why do you name your vegan meals the exact same thing as non-vegan meals? And I'm like, so that everyone wants to eat it. I'm not gonna name something, misspell something just because technically it's not made out of animal flesh. I'm gonna call it whatever I want to, because guess what? I'm gonna sing my song, I'm gonna do my dance, I'm gonna speak my truth. So if you don't like calling it pulled pork, if you don't like calling it baked bean, if you don't like calling it tuna, that's okay, and that's alright. I don't give a butt. I don't care what you call it, baby, as long as it's made out of plants and as long as it's healing your body and feeding your soul. So like I said, I am tearing apart this mushroom. I think it might be time to add our mushrooms into our beautiful pot. I think we can let them cook down just a little bit more, which gives us plenty of time to get even more of these mushrooms all torn on up. Ooh, let's do some of our oyster mushroom. Now, oyster mushroom is perfect for chicken. If you ever want to replace chicken, y'all, batter and fry. Y'all know my recipe, vegan fried chicken, cooking in the kitchen. Vegan fried chicken, bet that flavor hitting. These are the exact same things. Soak these in some apple cider vinegar and some pickle juice and some steak seasoning, you know what I'm saying, with some hot sauce. Y'all, batter and fry these babies. It will change your life. All right, we're gonna be separating them, just kind of breaking them apart to also give them that pork-like texture. That pulled pork texture is really what you want. Y'all, we're gonna get all the flavor in here, baby, and we're gonna get none of the cruelty, none of the heart disease, none of the cholesterol, baby. You're gonna be looking cute in your crop top, making your food, doing what you do, because you're gonna be feeling fresh and fierce and fine because of this fabulous meal, y'all. All right, so onions are doing good. Hopefully your onions are cooking down. Cook the onions down. Cook the onions down. All right, we have our mushrooms, our onions cooking down. I'm gonna keep pulling these apart until these onions are nice and clear. I like to make sure my onions get clear before I add in anything else. Just really helps me not only be time, make sure what I'm doing in the kitchen is making sense with time, but also it just helps everything taste better, I've found. So pull apart your mushroom, whatever kind of mushroom, dried mushroom, baby, use jackfruit. It doesn't matter. Like I said, it's all about that plant life, baby. So we're gonna be using, oh, this is gonna be juicy. Everybody's gonna love this. And like I said, the pulled pork, we can just eat this by itself. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Alexa. Alexa's talking to me, y'all. She's like, hey, girl, I want to be part of the cooking class. All right, add your broken up pieces of mushroom into your pan. I know Alexa, I know she's trying to talk to me, y'all. She's like, girl, I know you don't know me like that, but we are best friends now, and I will play you all the music that you want, because I know you singing, girl. She's still talking to me, y'all. That's okay, girl. We'll just chit-chat, Alexa. Y'all gonna hear her in the background. That's all good. All right, so I am pulling apart even more of my mushrooms because I'm making this for my whole family today. They are all getting some of this pulled pork and bacon quesadillas, stuffed with cheese between two tortillas. All right, pull it apart. Just like that, and then y'all, let's go in, let's add even more of this lion's mane right here. Oh my goodness, it is gonna be so freaking fabulous. And you know what's wonderful about mushroom is you can actually just let it soak in whatever flavors. You can make this taste like pork, you can make mushroom taste like chicken, you can make mushroom taste like fish, like truly any kind of like animal product, meat. Use mushrooms, y'all. It'll be really helpful in your life. All right, so I think I'm about to be done pulling these apart because I want to add in all of our seasoning and spices. All right, so make sure your onions and your mushrooms are getting all cooked together. Yes, baby. And let's add in all of our seasonings and spices, my loves. All right, so the first thing I'm going to want to add in there is, of course, some apple cider vinegar. Give it a little bit of some acidity in there. Also helps break down some of that mushroom. Just a splash, no more than 2 tablespoons. You don't want it super apple cider vinegary. All right, in that goes, and then y'all, smoked paprika, hey, smoked paprika, hey, hey, hey. Smoked paprika, in she goes. And then garlic powder, onion powder. Grab yourself about 2 tablespoons of your smoked paprika, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, baby. Or 1.5. Honestly, I just eyeball it, but you can add in 1 to 2 tablespoons, depending on however much of this pulled pork you are making. In goes, Penzeys. I don't know if y'all have ever seen Penzeys or tried Penzeys spices, but y'all should check it out. All right, in goes our seasonings and our spices, baby. The other seasoning we're going to be adding in is ground mustard. Ground mustard. Ground mustard. I just think it gives a nice meaty flavor. It's just dynamic. You really want dynamic flavor. Add in about 1/2 of a tablespoon of ground mustard. And then y'all, it's going to come down to the steak seasoning. This is what's going to give it a nice, even more meaty flavor. Y'all thought I was just going to add in just these seasonings? Nah, baby. Seasoning is everything. So I'm going to be adding in some McCormick steak seasoning. And a lot of people ask me, like, what's in steak seasoning? Well, I'll read it to you. It's got garlic. It also has black pepper, red pepper, onion, sunflower, and paprika. So let's add it on in and give it more flavor to our mushrooms. All right. So now that a majority of our spices are mixed in, let's just start adding that into everything in our pan. Make sure all those pieces of mushroom, you can see that smoked paprika on there. That's how I know, honestly. I'm like, okay, I seasoned this well. I can see the colors of the white mushroom, of the white onion starting to change, and most importantly, I can smell it. Yes, the apple cider vinegar is coming through, baby. All right, so of course with every good pulled pork, there's a little bit of savory, and to balance that out, we gotta balance it with a little bit of acidity, that apple cider vinegar we added in there, but also, y'all know I always add maple syrup into all of my recipes. So add in about 1 tablespoon. You can add in 1/2 of a tablespoon if you're not too much of a sweet freak like me. I add in maple syrup literally to all my recipes. So I'm adding in 1 tablespoon of my maple syrup. Y'all know she gets her own special song and dance because she's fabulous. And she's one of my key vegan ingredients whenever I'm cooking, because if you need something sweet, baby, if you need a marinara sauce, if you need to make a lasagna, if you need to make a pasta, a cheese, sometimes you add in a little bit of that maple syrup, oh, changes the game. All right, so our pulled pork is looking fierce so far. After you start to see everything start to cook together, those mushrooms are starting to get nice and soft, what I like to do is add in some of that liquid smoke. And if you have never used liquid smoke before, go get yourself some liquid smoke. It is vegan gold. You can make anything taste smoky, meaty, like it came right off the grill. And there's different kinds. There's different kinds of woods that you can buy liquid smoke in. So go to your grocery store, go to the barbecue sauce aisle, the ketchup aisle, and I guarantee you'll be able to find yourself some liquid smoke. So just a little bit, no more than 1 teaspoon of liquid smoke. You don't want to overpower it, baby, because we're going to be also adding in some of our barbecue sauce in there as well. So make sure everything's getting sauteed down. Those mushrooms are looking beautiful. I might add in some more too, honestly, just because your girl wants a lot of this feast today. All right, in go the mushrooms. And these don't have to cook for too long, but they're also gonna cook while we're making our beans. So let them simmer and let them just soak in all of that goodness. Once we're done letting everything cook down into the seasoning that we've already added in, I'm gonna add in a splash of some veggie broth, and then I'm gonna be adding in my barbecue sauce I was talking about. And so everyone always asks me, what kind of barbecue sauce do you use? What kind of seasonings do you use? Make sure whenever you're getting barbecue sauce, whenever you're getting ketchup, any kind of pre-packaged sauce, just make sure to turn it around, look at the label, make sure not only it doesn't have any meat, egg, dairy in it, but also make sure it doesn't have any high fructose corn syrup in there too. It's not going to be more expensive if you buy the one without high fructose corn syrup. All you got to do is just do a little bit of research. In fact, a lot of the time, grocery stores, their brand is no high fructose corn syrup. You can get like the good value version if you're at Walmart, and a lot of the time the good value organic version, no high fructose corn syrup, baby. So go for that. And that's also why I love Stubbs barbecue sauce, because it doesn't have any high fructose corn syrup, but it has all of that flavor we love. All right, so here go the last of my mushrooms. I'm gonna be adding in here. Like I said, we're gonna let these all soak in, get that flavor going. And then I'm also gonna be adding in my barbecue sauce and a little splash of my veggie broth. Oh yes. Yeah, the veggie broth just helps things get nice and cooked down, especially if with the onions and all that. So now that we've mixed in those other pieces of our mushrooms, let's add in a splash of our veggie broth. This is actually aquafaba, but you can literally use both of them. Aquafaba tends to have more protein in it, so if you're looking for like a protein situation, go for the aquafaba. And so it's just gonna make this help all cook down in the same way that oil or butter would, but this way, you know, less extraness going on. All we need is just a little bit of veggie broth or some bean juice. All right, so now that this is looking pretty much like pulled pork, that means we gotta add in our barbecue sauce, my loves. So I already told y'all the praises I feel for Stubbs barbecue sauce. I'm gonna be adding in no more than 1 cup, just because I don't want it too saucy. But like I said, y'all, if you're making more than however much of this recipe I'm making today, go in with your barbecue sauce. And also, if you want to, after you're done making it, you can bake it so it gets nice and crispy. But today, I'm just gonna be mixing in my barbecue sauce into my mushrooms, my loves, and then boom, look at that. Pulled pork, and then we're gonna make the beans. We have our pulled pork Gucci to go, my loves. So what I'm going to do is actually, I'm just gonna put the lid on her right there like that, and then we'll just get going with the beans. All right, so for my beans, I have a couple ingredients here I want to show y'all. So I have some diced up jalapenos. I also have some diced up red onions. This vegan butter, we're going to be using that later to help grill up our quesadilla, so I'll put that to the side. And then this dill we're going to be using for our ranch dip as well. And then this, of course, y'all know, little bit of freshness. I love freshness on top. So let's start off with our red onion and our jalapeno, get those simmered down, and then get our beans going. All right, baked beans, baked beans, baked beans, baked beans. All right, we're doing a little moving, a little grooving right now. Let me get these things out the way so I can clear it up so we can see, baby. All right, so like I said, I already have my oil nice and hot in my pot. Hot in the pot, hey, hot in the pot. Whoa, hot in the pot. I got my oil in the pot. All right, so y'all know how we did with the other recipe, onions and oil, right, my loves? So let's grab your red onion And we're just gonna plop it into our pan. We're gonna let this start to simmer on down. And you can use the exact same spoon because listen, it's all going into the same quesadilla. So worry not, go forth and just start cooking down your red onions. And the amount of onions I'm using for this recipe, I'm using about 1/2 of a red onion and then 1/2 of a diced up jalapeno with no seeds. I want that spiciness I like from jalapeno, but I don't want it to be unbearable, because we're also going to be adding in some pepper jack cheese in here. You know, you could throw in some hot sauce if you want to. We already get that smoked paprika, baby. You know what I'm saying? So we don't need to be going crazy with all the spiciness, but I do like a little heat on that back end. All right, so let's talk about all of the seasonings and spices that are going to be going into our beautiful baked beans, our quickest, easiest baked beans y'all will ever make. So like I said, I have my onions and they're gonna cook on down. I have my jalapenos, those are gonna cook on down. And then I have some white beans here. Honestly, y'all, you can use any beans. It's really about the seasoning that we're gonna be putting on them that matters. So I have some white beans here. These are pre-cooked, canned white beans. If you want to, you can make this recipe just from fresh beans. You know, you go get some beans in bulk or go to the grocery store, get some white beans, but you're gonna have to soak them before. They're gonna need to use more veggie broth. So just know that going into your journey of beandom. All right, so get your onions all cooked on down. And the reason I like using red onions for this recipe instead is I think that the white onions, the slivers of it just really mimics that pulled pork texture as well. Sometimes there's those like slimy pieces in pulled pork, you know, and I feel like the onion does that. But with the red onion, I like to dice it up so that it fits better with the beans. It goes along with that same bite-sized bean size, but also it just adds a little more Latin flavor to it with that little bit of red onion in there and a little bit of jalapeno too. So give it a go, my loves, and just start to get these sauteed down nice and clear. Maybe I'm gonna add in a little bit more of my oil. Like I said, you can use that veggie broth, you can use aquafaba, whatever works for you, baby. And then I'm gonna be adding in my jalapeno and the rest of my red onion as well, and get this cooked down. And this is gonna be the thing that starts off all of those beans. I think a good bean recipe always starts off with either garlic or onion. So just so y'all know. All right, so the other things we're gonna be needing to make our beautiful baked beans, get yourself some chili powder, get yourself some vegan Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire, I literally can never say that word, but I just given up. Just get yourself some W sauce. That's what I'm gonna say, W sauce. And then get yourself some thick ketchup. And like I said, get yourself some no high fructose corn syrup ketchup. And then the other things we need is gonna be a dash of maple syrup and then some liquid smoke as well. Salt and pepper, of course, my loves. So, boom, here we go. And also, the thing is about, if you wanna add in salt and pepper to your pulled pork, go for it. Honestly, the cheese is gonna have some saltiness in it and the beans are gonna have some saltiness. So if you're not a salt fiend like me, which y'all, I am a salt fiend. I be going in with the salt every day. But today, I'm gonna leave the salt out because that barbecue sauce has some salt. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna be adding in the salt from the cheese as well, salt from the beans, salt, 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 hey, salt, 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 baby. All right, we don't need all that salt, you know what I'm saying? So, but we're gonna be adding in salt to our beans. So now that my onions and my jalapeno, y'all, this smell of that jalapeno cooking with that oil, with that onion. Ooh, actually, let's add in a little bit of salt too to get this even cooked down more so, baby. All right, and then now that your onions are cooked on down, all you have to do is just add in all of the other ingredients. We're also gonna be adding in some veggie broth to make sure that we have a nice, good, thick sauce going around those beans as well. So, I have my veggie broth right here. I also have some veggie broth right there as well. Let's see. Oh yeah, she's doing good. All right, so in go your white beans. And I'm making about 3 cups of these beautiful baked beans because, like I said, we got a lot of people to feed today, y'all. We are making many a quesadilla today. All right, I'm just mixing these together, getting that onion and that jalapeno and that bean incorporated. And now that everything is mixed together pretty well, let's add in all of our seasoning and spices. Seasoning is everything when you're making vegan know seasoning is everything, okay? So we can't just eat basic, boring beans with just some onion and some jalapeno. No, we gotta go in, my loves. So let's start off with some chili powder, depending on if you like it spicy, baby. I like it spicy, so I'm gonna be doing about 1/2 tablespoon of some chili powder up in there, okay? Because that's me. And then some smoked paprika. I would add in about the same. You can add in about 1 tablespoon of smoked paprika if you want to. That's gonna help give it that nice rich color. And then 2 tablespoons of some natural, no high fructose corn syrup ketchup. It's gonna give it a nice thick, juicy sauce around it. Y'all know whenever you eat baked beans, it has that sauce coming off of it. The ketchup's really gonna help with that. All right, and then the other thing, that vegan W sauce, Worcestershire sauce. I seriously cannot pronounce it. Let's just add in a splash, I would say 1.5 tablespoons of your Worcestershire W sauce. And then maple syrup. 1 tablespoon of your maple syrup. And then let's add in salt and pepper to taste. Hey, yeah, salt and pepper to taste. Whatever you like. I am adding in about 1/2 tablespoon of my pepper, pepper. And then I'm gonna be adding in about 1/4 to 1/2 tablespoon of my salt. Like I said, it all depends on however many beans you're making. And also, does your ketchup have salt in it? I would just be aware, don't over salt. It's always better to under salt than to over salt. That's the good thing about making food, especially on a stovetop. You don't have to bake it because you can just add in more salt and pepper if you want to. But we're gonna get it perfect today because I have the seasoning gods on my side. All right, so add in your salt and your pepper, and y'all, it's already starting to bubble and boil on up with all that seasoning and that spice. Oh yes, it's beautiful. Yes, y'all, that ketchup is key. Ketchup is key whenever you're making baked beans. Yes, y'all, it is already getting thick and fabulous. We haven't even added in our veggie broth yet, okay? So we gotta add in a little bit just to make sure. Y'all, it already looks like baked beans, baby. How fabulous. All right, add in your veggie broth. I would say 1/4 of a cup of your veggie broth. Like I said, just to get things, make sure you got a nice thick sauce going on. Get everything nice and mixed together. And y'all, boom. Baked beans are done. Well, technically, we gotta let them cook on down first. So I'm just gonna close up my baked beans and let these cook for about 8 to 10 minutes. So while that's cooking, let's see how our pulled pork. Y'all, look at this. It is pulled pork. Okay, and then we got baked beans, and then we're gonna make quesadillas. All right, so looks like our pulled pork is pretty much ready to go, my love. So I'm excited about that. The other thing we have to make is our ranch dressing, my loves. So what I have here to make this quick and easy ranch dressing is a sneeze about to attack my nose. Do y'all ever feel like a sneeze is coming and then it disappeared? Just like that. Goodbye, sneeze. All right, let's make some vegan ranch. Okay, so you can make this recipe with vegan mayonnaise, soy-free veganese, soy-free veganese. And I use that from Follow Your Heart. So we're gonna be using Follow Your Heart cheese today, as well as their sour cream, which I believe this is a new product for them as well. So I would say get yourself about 1/2 to 1 cup of some vegan sour cream. This is coconut based as well, my loves. A lot of people ask me, what's it made out of? It's not milk, is it? And I'm like, nah, child, it's not milk. It's made out of coconut milk, which is so delicious and good for your body and your spirit and your soul. I eat a lot of coconut milk, okay? All right, so I have 1 cup of my vegan sour cream in here. And then what we're gonna be adding in here as well are those seasonings and spices that I love to use. I believe there's, look at this cool tool I got right here. So I got myself a lemon, and you're gonna wanna get yourself some fresh lemon juice for this lovely ranch recipe. And I'm just, it just squeezed all over me, y'all. That's okay. I'm gonna get out about 2 tablespoons of my fresh lemon juice, I'm just gonna squeeze that into my bowl to make my ranch. Boom, lemon juice, there she goes. All right, so the next thing I have to add in is that dill. Y'all remember how I had that dill I was talking about from earlier? So let's add in that fresh dill. I would say about 2 tablespoons of some fresh dill, boom, into your ranch, just like that. And then salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and nutritional yeast. All right, so let's add in those seasonings and spices I was just singing about. Nutritional yeast, full of B12, cheesy, delightful vegan gold right here. If you do not have nutritional yeast, get yourself nutritional yeast, baby, because it'll change your life. So I added in my nutritional yeast, garlic powder and onion powder, about 1/2 tablespoon of garlic powder and onion powder. I would say about 2 tablespoons of your nutritional yeast, just because that's the way I like to do it. And then salt and pepper to taste, and then add in vegan milk. If you want to get your ranch a little bit thinner, which I think I'm gonna want to personally, just especially since I'm using the sour cream, I'm going to add in just a splash of some coconut milk to help thin it on out. So adding in my salt and my pepper, about 1/4 of a tablespoon of each of those into your pan. And y'all can see these beans are already starting to cook on down. Oh, it is time to feast, my loves. And honestly, it didn't take nearly as long as I thought it would. It took a lot less time. So that's what I like to do. Quick, easy, scrumptious treats, cheesy treats, if you will. All right. In goes our pepper. We have all of our seasonings and our spices in there. Let me add in that splash of that coconut milk. You should use coconut milk. It just makes sense to use coconut milk in this recipe because, I mean, it's a coconut milk based sour cream. So we're just gonna keep it all in the coconut milk family. All right, my loves. Now, whisk it up, whisk that sour cream up. Make your ranch dressing dip. This is technically more of like a ranch dip instead of a dressing, but dang y'all, but she looks good though either way. She looks delicious and fabulous and like she's going to taste incredible on my tongue. Yes, yes, ranch dip, baby. All right, let me get a little taste of this so I know if I need to add anything. No, I think we're good, y'all. I think we're real good. Oh, yeah, the nutritional yeast is fierce in that. All right. So, my loves, now that our beans look like they're cooking up real fierce, our pulled mushroom pork, she is ready to go. So, I'm going to actually put this over here on my big girl burner in the back. Whoa. And to start off my quesadillas, I'm gonna get myself some vegan butter. Vegan butter. Get yourself some vegan butter, and we're gonna plop a little bit of this butter into our pan, get it nice and hot, and then start off our quesadilla. So the cheese I'm gonna be using today, y'all, this right here is my beef-free, gluten-free tortillas, gluten-free, soy-free, nut-free, and vegan. So check out Be-Free Foods, y'all. I love them. They don't sponsor me. They don't send me anything free, but I do love them, okay? This is a genuine product placement because it's so fierce. Be-Free multi-grain wraps. This is going to go so perfectly with my quesadilla. And then the cheese I'm using today, y'all, is Follow Your Heart, Pepper Jack. And this is going to be so delicious. All right, let's see. All right, girl, let's get hot. All right, so I'm gonna melt down my butter first. And then as that butter is melting down, as you can see, our baked beans are cooking on up. I'm gonna get my tortilla. She's gonna be ready to go. And I'm gonna be making several of these, y'all. I'm gonna probably be making like 2 for myself and then some others later. My beloved husband, he eats full gluten. He doesn't eat anything gluten-free, so I'm gonna be making him his own version that has a gluten-full tortilla. And we'll see how that looks. Maybe that'll look even better than these ones. Who knows? At the end of the day, this is what I can eat, and I can't eat gluten, so we're not gonna be doing that today. All right, so, ooh, also y'all, we got some extra mushrooms. I got so many mushrooms, my loves. Y'all gonna be like, girl, you got too many mushrooms. I'm like, can a girl have too many mushrooms? right, so I'm getting this nice and melted down. Yes, I like to make sure that it's melted all throughout the entire pan. That way you know that every part is gonna get nice and crispy. All right, my loves, so get yourself set up, get your pulled pork somewhere that you can get it, get your cheese somewhere that you can get at it, push away all of your other seasonings and spices, just like I did, because y'all, your girl, typically if I'm cooking and I'm not teaching people how to cook, what I'll do is I'll actually put things away as I'm cooking, but today, y'all, we are getting going and we are getting glowing because we're making pulled pork and bacon quesadillas. Stuffed with cheese between two tortillas. All right, let's get that tortilla going, my loves. The first thing I want y'all to do is get yourself some of these vegan slices of pepper jack cheese. Get your tortilla nice and hot. She's already getting nice and hot. And then put your cheese onto one side. Basically, you want to split this down the middle, and you want to create one half is going to have all of your fillings and your toppings on it, and then you're going to flip it over like you're creating a little purse of deliciousness. All right, so my cheese is on one side of this. I'm going to add in more cheese. I'm using about 2 slices per side, so I'm going to be using another 2 slices on the other one. So I have my pulled pork and baked beans going in my quesadilla. All right, get yourself a good helping of your pulled pork. Spread that all throughout your quesadilla. I want this. This is going to fall out. I already know, but I've accepted that. I want this to fall out everywhere. And then baked beans. Oh, these baked beans are so fabulous. Normally, I would let them cook a little bit longer, but y'all, I want to eat. So we just going to let these go, grow, and glow, and hope that all that seasoning and spice is already soaked into our beans. All right, add it on to one side, that same side. Just pile those beans on top of your pulled pork. And then, my loves, y'all, we are almost done. That's what's so exciting, is like, this is not taking nearly as long as I thought it would, and it's gonna taste so fabulous. So add more cheese on top of your pieces of pulled pork and baked beans, and you can already start to see that cheese is starting to melt on the other side. And then I'm just gonna take this side and flip it on over, just like that. I just made a little cute little purse, y'all. You just got a little cute flip. All right, and then press this down. And we're gonna let this cook for a little while. We wanna flip it when that cheese is fully melted, my loves. And sometimes, in fact, I'll put the top on over it, and that's what we'll do right now. We'll put the top on over, because sometimes that helps the cheese melt even more. So while we're doing that, we're gonna let that cook on down. So y'all see, it's super easy how to make this pulled pork and bacon quesadillas. And you can also do the exact same thing, but put it in a bell pepper, or put it next to some rice, or fill up a sweet potato with it. You can use these elements truly in anything. Put some pasta with it. It don't matter what you do. Doesn't matter. As long as you are eating food that nourishes your body, feeds your soul, is good for the planet, and makes you feel awesome inside too. Everything you should eat should make you feel good, because how many options do we have a day to actually choose what goes in our body? You know what I'm saying? We have a choice as to how this situation goes down. We have a choice on how our body breaks down, y'all. So take that in for a moment. Just let that soak in, and recognize that every time you eat something, you can eat something fierce, fabulous, fresh, and delicious, and it can also be better, not only for yourself, but for the world. So just take that in, my loves. All right, let's see how our quesadilla, y'all, cheese is melted. Cheese is melted. Cheese is melted. Cheese is melted. All right, so this might be a little challenging to flip, but we're gonna do it anyways. Flip, I got some out, but that's okay. We're gonna stuff it back in there. We're gonna act like it never came out. Just like that. Ooh, you could already see it's starting to get nice and brown. That cheese is gonna really help things stick together. So make sure that that cheese is nice and layered on there. Ooh, y'all. Pulled pork and bacon quesadilla, stuffed with cheese between two tortillas. Pulled pork and bacon quesadillas with mushrooms. You got the right idea. So y'all saw how easy this was to make that pulled pork and that baked beans that we still got cooking. So by tomorrow, y'all, these baked beans are gonna be perfect, especially if you let them soak in the fridge overnight, baby. All right, make sure all of your fillings are going inside. I can see that cheese start to bubble on out. So typically, if I'm making a quesadilla with a flat, full, round quesadilla, I'll use a plate. Y'all probably saw that in my stack real veggie pizzadilla, marinara cheese tortillas. Y'all probably saw that in my recipe where I took my plate and flipped it. Well, with this recipe, it's a little harder because they don't make plates this exact size. So, but this is what we're gonna do today, y'all. And so far, she is looking fierce and delicious. And she is stuffed, like I said, she is stuffed with such goodness. And y'all saw this. This is gluten-free, soy-free, nut-free, and vegan. So if you have somebody who's like, I could never be vegan because I can't eat nuts. Girl, but could you eat this, child? Could you eat a pulled pork, barbecue, baked bean, quesadilla? Yes, you could. You could eat it, y'all. You just got to do a little bit of research. Get the cookbook, the Colorful Home Cooking Cookbook with Gabrielle Reyes. Get yourself that cookbook and maybe that'll help you too. Which, speaking of which, y'all, my cookbook comes out December 17th, December 17th, 1991 is when I was born. So that means I'm going to be 29, y'all. 29. But my book comes out on my birthday, December 17th, 2020. So that's in a few months, y'all. That's in just a little bit of some time. All right, so let's flip our quesadilla again and hope. I need a bigger spatula, TBH, but we're going to do it this way anyways. Oh, there she goes. Yes, that was a perfect flip. Flip, flip, baby, flip, whoa, flip, baby, flip, whoa, flip, flip, flip. Oh, yeah, y'all, look how, y'all see this? She is getting all kinds of delicious on there. I'm going to let it get brown on the other side as well. And then we're going to make another one. And then, y'all, we're going to feast. Let me get myself something to put this on. So I got myself a plate, y'all. So we have these beautiful colored plates here. But I think I'm going to be using the white because I really want my quesadilla to shine. I want her to be the main attraction, y'all. So this is the plate I'm going to be using. I also have purple available, which you know your girl is tempted, okay, to bring out the purple. Okay. But let's stick with the white because we're going to have all those beautiful decorations on top as well. All right, my loves. Oh my gosh, I am so excited because I get to eat this. Hopefully you get to eat this. And hopefully yours looks as scrumptious and sexy as mine does. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna do is, whenever this is done cooking, typically what I'll do is I'll get the cutting board and I'll chop this apart on the cutting board, but I don't know if I'll have room for the cutting board today. Let's see, maybe I can make a little room and see if we could get a cutting board up in here. This thing's a little bit bigger than my other one I used to use, if you can't tell, my loves. So we're gonna maneuver around and see what works. I think we can fit a cutting board right here. Yeah, we'll put a cutting board right here, chop it on them, and I'll show y'all that delicious cross section of perfection. All right, cutting board. Let's make sure she's nice and clean so I don't get any of the extraness on there. And then, y'all, we get to eat pulled pork and bacon quesadillas, stuffed with cheese between two tortillas. All right, I think she is ready to go. I'm gonna put it on top of my cutting board, and I think I'm gonna get another one started while this one is chilling on my cutting board, because y'all know I'm making 2 of these babies. All right, get yourself. Oh, I put all the butter in there. Dang, I didn't mean to do that. That's okay. I'm gonna grab that butter out. Oh my gosh, y'all, it's literally cooking so fast. I didn't mean to put all the butter in there, but that's okay. All right, so I got my butter in my pan, and that's where I stand. And then I'm gonna get my quesadilla going. So add your tortilla to the pan, and then my cheese. Make sure it goes cheese, fillings, cheese, 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 fillings, cheese, cheese. So that's how you can remember how the order goes. Cheese, fillings, cheese, 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 fillings, cheese. All right, let's add in that pulled pork, and let's add in that baked bean, and let's make a quesadilla. All right, let that layer on over. Oh, this one's gonna be juicy. I'm gonna try to make this one a little less as full as the last one, my loves. So that way I can actually flip it like a normal person. All right, here go our baked beans. Get all soaked up, getting all juicy in there, and just pile those on. It's gonna have different textures in it, my loves. This is like ultimate comfort food, okay? All right, and then what I say, cheese, fillings, cheese, cheese. So let's add in that cheese on top as well, my loves. Boom, just like that. We even have some cheese left on over. So let's flip it and let her start cooking down, y'all. I'm gonna get her nice and close. Pulled pork and bacon quesadillas, stuffed with cheese between two tortillas. All right, this one, the cheese is kind of popping out of here, but that's okay. She'll cook on down and she'll be perfect. Just gotta do a little maneuvering around. Get 2 spatulas involved sometimes to make sure she's nice and closed and yet full at the same time. So while that's cooking down, let's cut on in. I'm using my pizza cutter to chop up my quesadilla. I'm starting at the middle, and I'm just gonna chop this on up over, yes. Hopefully it doesn't all fly out. Pulled pork and bacon quesadillas, stuffed with cheese between 2 tortillas. Y'all, I'm gonna have to get a bite of this right now. I just need a bite of the pulled pork and the baked bean because I can already taste her. She smells so good. Y'all, oh, with the cheese too though, y'all, oh my gosh, sweet, salty, spicy, it has everything I need. All right, boom. There they go. And let's check in on our other one. She probably needs to be flipped. Oh no, she's cooking on down. Oh yeah. Ooh, yeah. She is cooked. She is nice and crispy on that side. Pulled pork and bacon quesadilla, stuffed with cheese between 2 tortillas. Y'all, check it out. These are messy, baby. These are sneaky, messy little babies, but they're gonna be so freaking delicious. I already bit into one and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna eat all that. All right, I think I'm just gonna stack them on top of each other, y'all. That is just the way it's gonna be today. Stack that quesadilla and flip it. Fill that quesadilla and eat it. Eat your quesadilla too. All right, I think all we have to do is just wait to see this cook on down. Make sure everything, y'all see we got a nice little char on this side too. I kind of like that. Like that little burnt bit on there. Make sure everything's staying inside of my pulled pork and bacon quesadilla. Want this nice and crispy on both sides, my loves. And this tortilla is doing really well. She is holding up perfectly for this situation we got going today. Let me see. Let me check in. See how we're doing on the other side. Oh, she's a crispy. She's a crispy on the other side. All right. So there we go. And if you want to, and let's say you already make a ton of these, and what I suggest is you do is you make that pulled pork and you make that baked beans, and then you'll let your family choose when they're ready to make the quesadilla. Or in fact, you know what? Make it a family event. Everybody, you all make a piece, and then you'll all get to make the quesadillas together. You know, I'm all about cooking with other people, getting everybody involved in the situation. So let's see how this is going. I think she's ready. Pulled pork and bacon quesadillas, stuffed with cheese between 2 tortillas. All right, I am cutting this, and these pieces are just overflowing with deliciousness, my loves. All right, ooh, ooh, she's falling out. Ooh, ooh, she's falling out. Falling out. That's okay if she falls out, y'all, because guess what? You still get to eat that part. Just because it falls out of the quesadilla doesn't mean that it's not delicious in all ways, baby. All right, so I made like a quesadilla stack is what I did right here, y'all. This is just, we are just loaded and layered with quesadilla deliciousness. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm just gonna sprinkle on over a little bit of some of that ranch and then add on a little bit of some of that barbecue sauce and then some green onion, my loves. All right, so I can move my cutting board over to the side. And next, I'm gonna get my ranch out that I was talking about, and I might thin it out just a little bit. That way, it'll be easier for it to spread on over my quesadilla. All right, adding in a little bit more, and yo, we are done. That's what's fierce about this. You could put those beans on over to the side. We can eat those later, you know what I'm saying? Making that ranch a little bit thinner. That way, we're gonna just spread this on over the top, and we're gonna have that barbecue sauce, and then chop up some green onions, baby, and let's eat. You know what I'm saying? Let's feast on this feast of all plant-based feasts, baby. All right. Pulled pork and bacon quesadillas. All right, I guess it's telling me to turn it off. Off it goes. Off she goes. Unplugged she is. And then let's just pour on over a little bit of our ranch. And I'm gonna try to drizzle this on over. It may not work nearly as well as I want to, because this is, typically I'll use like an actual squirting bottle or something to pour on over my ranch, but y'all, she's looking cute. I'm not mad at her. Pulled pork and bacon quesadilla, stuffed with cheese, between two tortillas. All right, and then y'all, we are just, this is like, you don't have to go this much in, but your girl's going in, because like, why not? If you're gonna eat it, might as well make it epic as all get out. So just sprinkle over just a little bit of that barbecue sauce. Let them know what's inside, baby. Let the people know how it go. Let me clean this off. What's fierce about this thing is also, if it doesn't have any glass on it, it's not gonna burn you. So that's what's great about it. All right, and last thing, my loves, get yourself your green onion and get ready just to chop over some pieces on over your green onion. Just let them fall freely onto the quesadilla. I like to separate them sometimes if they fall in little clumps. So boom, just like that, and away she flies, yes! Pulled pork and bacon quesadilla, stuffed with cheese between two tortillas. Pulled pork and bacon quesadilla, made with mushrooms, you got the right idea. Y'all, this is so freaking delicious. And I'm about to dig in. I'm gonna make a fun TikTok video for you first before I dig in. But y'all, can you believe this is gluten-free, soy-free, nut-free, vegan perfection? Today, y'all, we made some pulled pork baked bean quesadillas in a few simple steps. Y'all saw how easy it was. Y'all saw how flavor-tastic this is going to be. So get yourself in the kitchen, get yourself going, get yourself glowing, and make yourself some pulled pork and bacon quesadilla, stuffed with cheese between two tortillas. And I will see you all next Saturday here live in my kitchen, making some colorful, wonderful home-cooked meals. Like I said, this recipe will be at onegreatvegan.com in a few hours. This recipe will also be on my YouTube page in just a few hours. And my loves, you can always find my recipes on my Instagram account. Like I said, I have a cookbook coming out December 17th, 2020 is the year still, because I got a cookbook coming out, and you can reserve a copy of that cookbook at onegreatvegan.com. So I will see you all next Saturday, and don't forget, at the end of the day, sing your song, do your dance, and speak your truth. Goodbye, my loves.